say crier, I say liar, I say rise and hell, I stand gazing down at death as they say war, I rage war, I hate war. They say fight for peace, but what is that?
Hello there, YouTube. This is oh, hold on. Blah blah. I speak blah blah blah. Anyways, this is More Seed America playing on Fantasy. I do not want you showing. Playing on Fantasy Star Online 2. I am on my main character, Sherelle. In this video, I will talk about how to look over weapons and units. Now, this is kind of silly for me to bring it up, but there's a few technical things you want to know about your weapon. Since I'm gonna just bring up, I can't speak. But yeah, I'm just gonna bring up the menu, and then that happens. I'm not gonna take it out. He forgot what he was gonna do too. But anyways, I'll take my katana for example. On the first tab, it will state the rarity of the weapon, the description of the weapon. What else? The affixes, also known as abilities, the element it is, the element number, and the S attack it has. Now, also talks about the requirement you need, unless I already stated that. Now, right now in the game, 13 stars are the max, and you can tell if it's a 13 star if it has a gold. I mean, it's not even gold, it's a rainbow, like rainbow star. And when you get a 13 star, you'll know that it's a 13 star. Like the shininess of it and the rainbows and stuff is different from most of the other rare drops. Now, I'll go over this kind of simple, but with the blue stars, it's 1, 2, 3 rarity, and then green would mean 4, 5, 6. Red is 7, 8, 9. Yellows 10, 11, 12, and then rainbows 13. Now, yeah, that's just you knowing what rarity it is. Right below it is the requirement. And this weapon requires a lot of dex. It's a katana, so if you don't have dex in your mag, depending on what class you have, you may not want to actually put dex in it. As braver, I didn't mind having a little bit of dex. As you can see, my mag is not a full attack mag. And then you see 4 points somewhere else. Yeah, that was actually a mistake I did. I forgot that they increased the mag level by 10 whenever that update was. So I put 4 points in unneeded stats, and I was like, oh, darn it, I messed up. But I'm not gonna fix it. I'm not gonna spend money or X cubes to fix it. But back to the weapon stuff. Where is my katana? Yeah. Pay attention to the requirements. You don't want to actually... Okay, I was just looking at my other screen, staring at the chat. Ignoring whatever the composition is. The requirement for dex... the requirement will state what stats you need to have, and then the number it is, and then it'll tell you what you currently have. Now, this, like I said, is kind of easy, but a lot of people kind of look over this or some other stuff. It's just I'm just here to inform people. But yeah, make sure when you craft, like by craft I mean go to your room and extend a weapon or ask a crafter to extend it. You want to be careful because extending a weapon or a unit will up the requirement. Sadly, I don't think you can craft 12 stars or 13 stars yet. But yeah, just be careful when you extend weapons because they will up the requirements, and if you're not ready for it, you won't be able to use it. I kind of learned this the hard way back then in episode 2 on this character when I crafted some katanas. But yeah, that's just a little tip for this video. I'm not gonna have my advisor explain it. Then down here, you'll see the S attack 1438. Note that this is grinded to the max. For new types in episode 4, they can go up to plus 60, 50, 40. They have a different number than plus 10. You can tell by looking at it. You're gonna see it in yellow actually. It's gonna say maybe plus 22 instead of plus 10. Old type weapons, you can only have them to plus 10. I'll go more into new type grinding in a different video. For now, this is just the basics of how to read your weapon, how to read your units, how to read stuff. Okay, so here it's gonna state what element it is. There's 6 elements: fire, ice, wind, lightning, dark, light. This katana I have, hold on. But yeah, what was I talking about? Weapons, rarity, blah blah blah. But yeah, excuse me. Okay, I don't remember if new types actually go past 50 for element. But right now, from what I remember, most weapons can... Actually, I don't know about the old other stuff. These do not have rarities. No, they do. Alright, so I can say that most... Wait, let me make sure. That doesn't have anything. Then again, I extended it. That has something. How about the 3 stars? Do I even have a 3-star? No, I do not. Well, going back on topic. The number on the side, it does a little benefit. I can't remember exactly off the top of my head. Most likely, I'll put it in the description below what having a full element weapon would do. Gives like a percentage against enemies weak to said element. So if you have a fully maxed out 13 star, 12 star, 11 star against a certain boss, you'll get a little damage bonus off of it. I don't remember the exact numbers. Like I said, I'll put something in the description below. But most weapons are maxed at 50. But if you have a 13 stars, they can go to 60. But yeah, moving on. As you can see, the fixes down here are abilities. Now, this gold one is actually a potential. It does not... I wouldn't say it counts as an ability. Well, it's in the ability icon tab thingy, so I guess you could say it is. But technically, this is the weapon potential. You have to plus 10 it once. And then you had to take it to, well, I mean, I could just demonstrate for you instead of talking about it. Like, where you can grind your weapons, where you can upgrade them, add fixes, and oh god, it's Monica. Every time I bump into Monica, she's alright with me when it comes to grinding, but when it comes to fixing, she's horrible. But yeah. This is where you grind your items, this is where you grind your attributes, this is where you add abilities, etc, etc. Now, yeah, as you can see, what is this? This is element, you can grind your element. I'll talk about that a little later. But yeah, you come over here, you unlock your potential by clicking on the weapon. Once it's plus 10, you say yes. And then you upgrade it to the next potential level. Now, all potentials are maxed at level 3. So once you plus 10 it, well, this is like the old weapons, like my 13 star Ares. Like once you plus 10 it once, you have to plus 10 it again to get potential level 2, and then you had to unlock it, you start back to 0, then you had to grind it to plus 10 again, and then level potential. Wait, once you plus 10 it, you unlock potential to 3, then you plus 10 it last time. So you plus 40 it, technically. And grinding a 13 star isn't easy. Now, with the new grind type, like I said, I have no clue how it works yet. I think it has a very easy mechanic where if you have the same 13 stars, you get plus 10 to it and you unlock the potential, because it doesn't have an unlock potential for new style weapons. So I'm gonna have to research that on my own time. This video is more on how to read your weapons, not how to do the stuff. But yeah, that's abilities. You can tamper with abilities later, but that's the process of fixing, and to fix something, it's very complicated. I left a guide somewhere in my Astro Soul on how to, well, when I was fixing my austere units, I put an Astro Soul on it. I put a document of how to affix down there. I'll put it again in the description down below, but affixing is completely different. It's like its own category. If you plan to stay in the game, you want to sort of know some of the basics when it comes to affixing. Like the abilities I have on this katana is up there, and depending on the method you use to get these abilities, it's either upslotting, manipulation of fodder, etc, etc. It's not going to be cheap, that's all I'm going to say. But yeah, that's just abilities, requirements, rarity, element, the element number, how much attack it has, in the description. Now in the second tab, it's going to go more into details about equipment detail, talks more on the requirements again, and the race, almost anyone can use a weapon, I mean, as long as you play the certain class. Now, this is important when it comes to doing certain, like if you want to use a different weapon away from its original class. For example, I want to play fighter main, but I'm going to use katana. This 13 star cannot be used on a fighter if you main it. Now, if I had a fighter as subclass, it does not apply. As long as I have braver as my main class, I can use this katana. Okay, why can't I say that? But yeah, pay attention to this second tab right here. If you want to do different sort of builds with different weapons, this is important. You want to pay attention to if you can use this weapon with a different class. Now, I can state that like the gun slash weapon is an all class. So yeah, it's just that you can use it for anything. You don't need to worry about tampering with the weapon or adding, like getting an item that adds a class to it so you can play around with it. You're gonna need like extra money to do that, because extending a weapon isn't cheap as well. But yeah, pay attention to the second tab, especially with class, because if you want to do a different weapon, let's say, as you can see, this Singay I have on me is an all-class katana. As long as I don't extend it. If you extend it, you can destroy the chance of being it all-class. But if it says all-class, that means you can toy around with it. Now, the other thing I forgot to mention in my class videos, like talking about class, I guess. I haven't actually made a thorough video about it, but as long as if you want to use photon arts for like katanas, you either have to have braver main or braver sub. So if I go fighter braver, I can technically equip this weapon and still use still use photon arts for katana. Now if I went fighter hunter, and I try to use the katana, I can equip it, but I cannot use the photon arts. This is very important when it comes to you just trying out different stuff. The weapon has to be able to. The weapon has to be playable on said class you want to experiment with. This is why extending and adding class to certain weapons will help. For example, Elder Pain, for example, is a very tanky and good sword. I think it's very expensive too because of the fact it doesn't drop often from Hunar. But the weapon is only it's a sword. That's for one. And secondly, the main classic, the only class I can use it is a hunter. So if you were to do like fighter hunter and use swords as main, or like want that sword to be used on your fighter main, you're gonna have to get it added class. You have to extend it. It's just a lot of money added onto you plus 40 it plus 40e. Just grinding it and fixing it. You're adding a lot more to it, so pay attention to this tab if you're a new player and you want to start trying out with new hybrids or like toy around with different stuff. Pay attention to the weapon, because it's important if you can't use that weapon if you play a certain class. Now, I can state that most 13 stars in-game are one class only. It's mostly main. Now, Taluses, guns, Gunslash, they have more than... They have at least two class, or, well, it's only Gunslash, because Gunslash, all classes can use it. Now, Taluses, Force, and Techer. Rifles, Gunners, and Rangers. What other weapons? I think that's it. Only a few 13 stars can allow one class or more to play around with it. So yeah, you're very limited if you have like a fighter bouncer that mains dual blades, because you can't use a 13 star because you can't add class to the dual blades for fighters. So it's just that, yeah, when it comes to 13 stars giving you that edge, it's not there yet. Maybe Sega will make different 13 stars that has more classes to it. But yeah, just pay attention to that tab, to this. The next stuff talks about stats details, go a little bit more into if it has R attack or T attack, and then the grind value as well. Now, the third tab talks about the special abilities and the potentials. Now, it should be just potential because you only have one weapon potential. You have, if you unlock a potential and it has like 2 or 3, you can only select one. So, yeah. This just goes more into details of what the abilities God, I'm still sick. This gives more details about what the abilities give. Like it gives plus 30 S attack, R attack, T attack, blah 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 blah. You can see it yourself. Some of these abilities aren't translated yet if you use Tweaker, but yeah, as you can see, this weapon gives plus 155 S attack, adding on to the original stats, which was like maybe 1,000 something, 1,300, yeah, around there, 1,200 without these abilities. But yeah, that's weapons. Same thing with units, same structure it has. There's not gonna be a restriction with this. It should be all class unless something happens or unless Sega adds stuff. But I can't speak again. As you can see, the first tab and the third tab are very identical. And second tabs goes more into details of what it can resist element wise and its RT and S defense. As you can see, Saki unit has 335, 297, 340, blah blah blah. And then you can also extend this as well. Units are easier to grind because you don't need to worry about plus 40ing it. You can just plus 10 it. Now, this little rare thing is a timed ability, and you have to actually get a crafter or yourself as a crafter to get certain time abilities. I'm not going to be talking much about crafting because that's not my expertise, but yeah, that's it for this video. Just going over the basics for weapons and units and how to read it. Recapping, the most important thing you want to pay attention to is the requirement, sometimes the abilities. When it comes to affixing later, if you're free to play and you don't want to spend a lot of money, oh my god, Sam, what are you doing? And your character's not even Sham. No. Yeah. Okay. Continue on. He just wanted to butt it for a bit, I guess. But dang it, Sham. Why? Anyways, yeah. Pay attention to the abilities somewhat. I'll just state this: any flint you see that's like 5-slot modulators, they are costly. Do not throw it away. It's not junk. You want to pay attention to the second tab in the class for weapons. Third tab instead of looking at first. If you hate looking at this sort of format, you can go to the third tab instead and look up the abilities. But yeah, for weapons, pay attention to abilities and the class and the requirement. That's important. Rarity will also be on your things too. Oh my god. Rarity will be the things you may want to pay attention to when it comes to feeding your mag, comes to desynthesizing it, comes to X-cubing, comes to getting a pass, or just trying to collect a weapon that's of higher grade. Now for units, it's been 2 years since they released 11 stars. I don't know when they get upgraded to 12 stars, but 11 star units have been the max. Huge advice for people looking for certain weapons and units: look at Chronopedia or Japanese PSO2 S-Wiki. You want to try to get stuff that gives you huge benefits. Sake set, for example, there's 3 pieces for it: leg, arm, and rear. You need to get all 3 to get the set bonus, which is plus 25 PP, which is very useful to a lot of people who love PP. But yeah, for units, you just want to keep out for the rarity, the requirement for it, and then the abilities as well, because units with good abilities cost a lot compared to weapons with good abilities. I'll go more about the market, like I said, in a different video. But yeah, just keep your eyes out, keep on upgrading, know how to read your weapons and your units, and don't want to say use this to your advantage to see if the person next to you in the NPA has good gear or not. Sometimes good gear doesn't matter, as long as you know what to do. It's very important. But debates here left and right, it's not important, but yeah, just know what to look for in a weapon in a unit, just to keep your eyes out on the requirements so you don't what is it? Like for example, if you're new to crafting, pay attention to the requirement because it's gonna go up every time you extend it. Just keep an eye out on the rarity, so if you need to feed a certain weapon or get executes and stuff, and blah 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 blah. This video is gonna get too long, so I'm just gonna leave it at that. Just know your weapon and your units, know how to read them, and just make sure that you don't toss away anything good. Alright, that's all I'm gonna say for this video. Thanks for watching. Hit that like and subscribe. I'll see you around.